Hi, it's Tracy Rail. As we celebrate 50 years since graduation, one of the greatest gifts is hearing from the people who shared that journey. We asked some of you to record a few memories, reflections, and updates about your Westside experience. These videos remind us that while the years have taken us in many different directions, we'll always share the bond of those high school days. I hope you enjoy and giggle at these stories, and maybe even reconnect with someone you haven't seen in years. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this special look back through the voices of our classmates.
Hi everybody, Gary Bliss, Phoenix, Arizona, class of 76. So many memories, so many great times. The pep rally skit that we did back in 76 is the Warrior Brothers, probably one of my best. Drinking beforehand, school suspensions. Jeff Hansen and I walked away scot-free just like we normally did. And to all the great people in this class, the camaraderie, the friendships, something you'll never forget. Have a great reunion, guys.
Hi Westside fellow 76ers, Randy Bosse here. Our biggest question back in the day was on Friday nights when there wasn't a football game is which drive-in theater do we go to? The old Granddad on 76th and Dodge, the one way out there 114th, the Golden Spike, 84th and Center was closed, 120th and Q, way up on 72nd somewhere, skyline view something, and the one over in CB if we were really adventurous. Look forward to seeing everyone in August, and the best to you.
Hi everybody, this is Gary Brady. I'm at Fontenelle Forest right now answering the question, what car did I drive when I was at Westside? Well, it was a 68 Chevrolet Impala. Really enjoyed that car, drove it everywhere, and it got me where I needed to go. Drove it all through high school and all through college. I even started my full-time career with that car. But when it reached 150,000 miles, it met its demise in an accident at 72nd and Dodge where it was totaled. But life goes on. I finally got a brand new car. Thank you. Bye.
Hi, and happy 50th. This is Jeff Conley with a whole lot of white hair. Looking back, one of the things I remember about Westside is my bad drinking choices. I'm thinking Falstaff, Old Milwaukee, Boone's Farm, vodka gimlets, and whoever thought that a slow gin fizz was a good idea. Oh my gosh, I hope we've all moved on from there. And don't get me going about cell phone cameras. We'd all be in jail. Hey, happy 50th. Look forward to talking to you. Bye.
Hi everyone, and happy 50th. One of my most fond memories happened in the fall of our senior year together. Our Warrior football team got to play in the very first Nebraska State High School championship game. And while we ended up on the short end of things against Lincoln East, the memories that were made that great season with all the guys and coaches were great memories that have really lasted a lifetime. I look forward to talking with you all at the event, and happy 50th.
For those of you who may not recognize me or who don't know me, my name is Mark Dickhute. My favorite teacher at Westside High School was William Mac McCormick. As you may recall, Mac taught two courses, and I was enrolled in both while I was at Westside. The first was the sociology course, and the second was the Advanced World History course. Advanced World History really, he brought history to life for us, and it really sparked an interest of mine in history. It not only allowed me to get 3 college credits when I eventually went to Creighton, but it really was the starter for my enrollment as a history major at Creighton. Matt cared deeply about his students, and at one point after sociology class, he'd yelled at me to be quiet, even though I was half asleep in the class and slumped down. So I went down and I asked him, "Why did you yell at me to be quiet?" And he looked at me and he goes, "Because I like you. Hey, I live over in the Lamb Park area. Why don't you come on over this weekend and have a Coca-Cola with me and we'll solve the world's problems." So I went over, had a Coca-Cola with him and solved the world's problems, and I would eventually make that a pretty regular habit. Every time I'd arrive, I'd knock on the door, Mac's kids would answer, and he would come to see me, and we'd play a game of horse. After we played the game of horse, though, at one point he said, "You know, I think I'll call you Jojo the dog-faced boy." And I looked at him and I said, "Well, why Jojo?" He looked at me, he goes, "Because you look like Jojo the dog-faced boy." Well, I looked him up, I didn't look anything like him. But in 2014, after many years, I hadn't seen Mac, and I read of his death in the Omaha World Herald. I went to his funeral, and it was a joyous celebration of a great life and a great man. At the reception afterwards, I walked up and I introduced myself to his son, and I said, "I'm Mark Dickute." And he looked right at me and he goes, "Why, you're JoJo the Dog-Faced Boy." And he announced it to everyone there, "Hey, JoJo the Dog-Faced Boy is here." So it's kind of a living testament to a man who I think loved people. And I told him it was an ugly phase of my life, but I worked through it. But he passed on that love for people to his children, and our relationship still continues even with his family now. Thanks.
Hi everybody, it's Randy Friedel Jablin here in sunny Arizona. In high school, I was blessed to have many friends, but one in particular with whom I was very close was Beth Crandall, who is right here next to me. We lived about 15 minutes apart in Omaha, and here in Phoenix, we live about 15 minutes apart as well. So it was very nice to have my high school friend here nearby.
And we would tell our 16-year-old selves to just don't sweat the small stuff. Great seeing everybody.
Mwah.
Happy 50th, fellow warriors. This is Christy Halverson Blagan. I have great memories of being part of Warrior Voices, chamber choir, and madrigals. I remember having shopping cart races when we were on a choir competition. Also, Mr. Hardison in Anatomy and Physiology telling us when we were skinning a rat, it's just like taking a sweater off a baby. I thought that was so funny. Happy 50th once again.
Hey, class of 76, Julie Holmstrom Munson here. Drill squad captain. Anybody else remember that dreadful night during football season when the drill squad went out to perform at halftime with our red and black satin flags that weighed a ton and gusts of 30-40 mile an hour winds, and halfway through the routine we just like throw up our hands and we give up. We can't fight it. So that was the most humbling experience on my 2 years on drill squad. That's all. Good to see y'all. Bye.
Hi everybody, this is Kent Holtquist. I was reminiscing about the good old days, especially Friday and Saturday nights. I remember the get-togethers and the small parties that would grow and grow, and 30, 40, 50 people. Some of them were so epic, even the sheriffs thought they were invited. How did we do that? We didn't have cell phones or laptops. I attribute it to our amazing class's ability to network and communicate, our resourcefulness, our determination. If we had cell phones back then, we would have been a force to be reckoned with. In fact, I attribute some of our success today to those parties back then. Take care, best wishes.
Hey everybody, Todd and Mary Jacobs here. First, we want to thank Lisa and Tracy for putting this whole thing together. A lot of hard work there that they did, so appreciate that. And hope everybody's having a really good time getting together at the reunion. I'm one of those guys that loved high school. I have just tons of great memories. Tons of great memories, and lots of memories playing baseball. Practices were just great, and games and football. First team ever to go to the state championship game and represent Westside. Just great memories being with people, hanging out in the cafeteria, malts and ice cream cones at $0.25. How can you beat that?
My maiden name is Power, and I loved doing drill squad with all the gals early morning in the summer out in the parking lot, and it was so fun to do our routines out at the football field and also during basketball. Loved being in choir and traveling to Minneapolis and going to Germany with Hergit, our German teacher. We really had a great time in high school, and we loved that mod schedule. That was great.
Yep, we loved it. So,
and homecoming. He invited me to homecoming.
Yeah. Go Warriors.
Go Warriors.
And again, hi to everybody.
Yeah.
And hope you're having a great time. Take care.
Hi, remarkable class of 1976. This is Beth Kaplan, and I'm so disappointed I'm not able to be there in person. Lisa Skoog asked that I share just a few memories on a video, and so here it goes. When I think back to my 4 years at Westside, the things I remember most are my super close friends. You know who you are, as well as all of the crazy activities, whether it was the newspaper or theater or dance or swing choir. Oh my gosh, swing choir. And the experiences that gave me exposure to life and gave me the foundation for feeling that I could be successful. I wish everyone a really fun reunion. I hope everybody's well, and I hope you're all living your very best versions of yourself.
Okay, Michelle Katz here, and I have a couple of things I was going to reminisce about. One of them was when I learned to drive. Julie Strang taught me to drive a manual on her little red Volkswagen, and I remember stripping the gears, and she was very patient with me, and I ended up getting a Volkswagen for my first car, but not until I graduated. And then another memory was that I took the Grand Canyon trip down here to Arizona where I live, and it was in between junior and senior year. It was an amazing trip. Mr. France was our teacher, and I climbed up to whatever the cliff jumping place was and almost fell and pushed off and landed okay in the water when we were jumping off the cliffs. But Mr. France was so upset, and we'd have to get a helicopter. He was freaked out because it was close, and apparently he was videotaping. And a couple of years later, one of my good friends said he saw that videotape as a "please don't do this on the trip" thing. And then the last thing is that one time there was a really bad blizzard, and I lived 3 blocks from school, and everybody who could kind of hiked over to my house and stayed there. And even though it was a really bad blizzard and nobody could quote unquote get home, we were traipsing all over town. And if you were there, you probably remember this. Love y'all.
Hi, this is Mike McHugh. Currently live in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. And my favorite memory of our senior year is probably the football season. Had a great year. Last game wasn't so great. But I also remember Ross Stebbins, who unfortunately died last year, but he was right next to me in the defensive line and made my job easy and also made me laugh a lot. Even though we live in different cities, I try to hang out as much as I can with my good friends Greg Bannock, Brad Bolton, and 75 grad Scott Carlson. And if I had any advice to give my younger self, I'd say if Herman Stock ever suggests that he can drive Greg Bannock and I home from the Depot Lounge and instead drives to his house and gives me the keys to make the rest of the way, don't do it. Because if you do, Bill Singer's dad's going to end up sewing your tongue together and you're going to eat nothing but soup and malts for the next month.
Hi, I'm Marianne Paget, and I wanted to share a few memories from high school. Actually, the first memory starts back in junior high at Valley View Junior High School with Sue Carson, Stephanie Gannan, and Barb Bohlmeyer. We started singing in the choir there and joined the folk singers, which meant we played our guitars and sang as a group there. Well, we carried that on through high school, where we composed some of our own songs, and then we performed them at a talent show, one of the Westside talent shows, and we sang songs that we would all know as well. Great memories. The second one Mishy reminded me of was the big snowstorm in 1975. None of us probably got home from school that day, and I was one of them. Barb Bohlmeyer and I got a ride home with one of the teachers. I don't remember who it was, but we barely got to her house. We were about 5 blocks away, traipsing through snow, up to our knees by then. And I ended up staying at her house for 2 days before the streets were clear enough for me to get home. What an experience, and crazy amount of snow. And of course, none of us had snow boots or anything with us that day. So, 2 things, lots of fun.
Hi, fellow 76 grads. I'm Tracy Rail. I drove a hand-me-down car, which was a lime green station wagon with wood on the sides. It had a rear window for quick exiting and jumping back in so as not to get caught, while being a bit mischievous. There were extra seats in the way back to hold plenty of friends too. That car safely took me and a bunch of other friends, including Skoog, Rudine, Kinsley, and more, over the border to Iowa for some shenanigans at the Joker and Rail, teepeeing and egging houses. And now I do apologize if we defaced your home. And driving through Burger King. Those were the days. I miss it.
Hi, this is Dernay Rohrberg. In high school, I drove my parents' car that they had given me. It was a 1966 Chrysler 300 convertible, beautiful jade green. I would use it a lot for taking it to drive-in movie theaters. We drove it in the homecoming parades. I absolutely love that car. Thanks.
Hi, Sandy Ross Watson here. I had such a good time at Westside. I just loved the size of the school. I loved all the activities and the sporting events, all the people, the teachers, the classes, and we had a full-size orchestra, which I really appreciated, as I still play the violin today. And we had driver's ed. I took driver's ed in the summer. I started very early. Mr. Stribley was so very intimidating. If you were late, you were locked out. And he always talked about being careful or you'd run into a Maserati and have to pay all kinds of money. So to this day, when I see a Maserati on the road, I'm extra careful. Looking forward to seeing everyone.
Hi, I'm Jim Schrader. I cannot imagine a better high school experience than what we were offered at Westside. But more than the curriculum, the activities, and the facilities combined, I remember the people most and best. Hundreds who helped shape our lives. Friends, classmates, teachers, coaches, and advisors. Okay, that's enough for now. I will close with a toast. Here's to our first 50th. Cheers and thanks. See ya.